All right. Trikanto matlo sujani sarumanglaha ninkashankaro mahadevaha tvamande gajananam. Vimrapati kamlaputi pustaka rudrakshi sasthastaputi kamakshi pakshmanakshi kalasivakanchi vibhasi varinchi. Manojavam maratulya vegam jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam vatatmajam vanritamukyam Sri Ramadutam sirasan mami. Apadam apahataram dataram sarvasampadam lokabiramam Sri Ramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyam. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shivashaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavata Shakti Bhavatamanache Devam Devo Nakalo Kushalas Panditum Vyatastvam Aradhyam Hari Hara Virinjadi Birpi Pranantum Stotum Vakadam Krita Punya Prabhati Guruve Sarvalokanam Vashya Bhavroganam Nidye Sarvidyanam Sri Dakshinamurti Namaha Jnananandamaim Devam Nirmal Spatka Kruti Madaram Sarvavidyanam Haikrivam Pasmai. With that, we will make an attempt to understand the fourth avarna of Mother. Wait 1 second. Okay. Now, we have discussed the Sarva Samkshobhini Chakram, in which the yoginis are Gupta Tara. Now, today we will start discussing the fourth avarnam, which is the Sarva Soubhagya Dayaka Chakra, in which the yoginis essentially are going to be Sampradaya yoginis. You will see some names being repeated, but they'll have a different meaning, and those we will try to make an effort to understand. Okay, now, so when we started the SriChakra, we started with the Bhupuras, and this is basically a square, and within the square you have the concentric circles, 3 of them. And starting today, we will start discussing about the triangles. So the square is a representation that you and I, as the jivas, have been hovering around until we entered our father in the form of food, as we discussed from the Taittiriya Upanishad. The sloka on how the jivas enter the father, and then of the many jivas that enter the father, the chosen one which has a karmic connection with the physical parents is born as a daughter or a son to that biological parents. And these 3 concentric circles in which we don't pray to any Shakti, but are still a representation of our Sukshma, Stula, Karana Sariras, the physical, and the Stula is the physical, Sukshma is the not cosmic, Sukshma is the microscopic or micro body, and Karana Sarira is the causal body. So, but therefore, these do not have any Shaktis on them, but they're still represented because these are the 3 states in which we are constantly circling, the Swapna, Jagrat, Sushupti, without really realizing. But starting today, we also discussed the previous 3 chakras are a representation of the Sthiti, the Srishti Krama. And starting today, we will start discussing the Srishti Krama to moving on to Sthiti Krama. So what does Srishti means? Giving birth. Okay, generate. Of the word God, God. Today we are going to operate or sustenance. In this state of sustenance, each of us, when we were in our mother's tummy or the Garbhalayam, the 3 states were kind of going as cyclical without our control. Okay? But the moment you and I are born, we sleep at a defined time. We wake up, try to wake up for a defined time, and therefore transitioning into sleep or awaken in between as well. Therefore, the circle now starts translating. The square is a representation, the open square is a representation of the jiva, which is now getting confined to a Garbhalayam in the circle. of the mother, the womb, temple of womb, in which we are kind of arrested, and we start going through our 3 states in that state of arrest in the mother's womb with no physical space to move around with a lot of freedom. That's the reason when babies are born, they generally have their arms very close to their chest because they're so used to being wrapped around in the womb. So these 3 cyclical states continued in the mother's womb. Then we are born. What happens is that cycle now starts getting into a control through our mother, our father, our own discipline of waking up at a certain time, sleeping at a certain time, and trying to go into these 3 states. Therefore, the circle now transforming into a triangle. That is the geometry. Now, the circle where we have discussed the 16 petal lotus and the 8 petal lotus, the Ananga Kusuma, Ananga Vekya, Ananga Regini, and everything that we have discussed in the previous classes. The same circle, okay, started having different vibrations in it. Because of those vibrations, the circle started producing these 16 and 8 petals before you and I were completely born with the physical body. As we discussed in the last class, the moment we are complete with the 3 avarnas, our spiritual rebirth happens. And as physical birth, when we were born, as well, this is a representation of how a GV goes through the mother's womb in the 9 months. And when you and I are born, then we actually go to the next, the triangle. This is where the triangles, the 4th avarna starts. This is where the triangles start. What is this chakra called? Though this is a triangle, the reason we call this as a chakra is from where this has evolved and of the cyclical nature of everything that goes around here, again in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. This chakra, the 4th one, is called Sarva Soubhagya Dayaka Chakra. And the yoginis in this are called Sampradaya yoginis. Okay. If we were to look at these yoginis, the 14 of them, they map to the 14 nadis that are there in each of you and I. Each of us, the Sukshma Sarira and the Karana Sarira, actually are connected by 72,000 nadis that no CT scan, no MRI can capture. Okay, but these nadis are absolutely present in every one of us, controlling the energies, the spiritual energy between the macrocosm, the Brahmanda, and the microcosm, the Pindanda. Pinda, Anda means the Pinda means that which has born from, Anda is egg. Pinda means born from the mother's womb. So this body is called Pindanda and the universe is called Brahmanda. So the balance between Brahmanda and Pindanda, or Brahmanda is the macrocosm, Pindanda is the microcosm, happens in this chakra, the Sarva Soubhagya Dayaka Chakra. If we look at the Shaktis that are there here, we talk about Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Akarshini, Sarva Ahladini, Sarva Sammohini, Sarva Stambhini, Sarva Jrumbhini, Sarva Vashankari, Sarva Ranjani, Sarva Unmadini, Sarva Arthasadhike, Sarva Sampatti, Sarva Mantramayi, Sarva Dvandva Shankari. So each of these, Sarva Samkshobhini, again, these names, some of these names will be common. For example, if I recall it right, in the first SriChakra Avarna that we discussed, Anima Siddhe, Lagima Siddhe, Mahima Siddhe, Garima Siddhe, Ichatva Siddhe, Vachitva Siddhe, Prakam Siddhe, Bhukti Siddhe, Icha Siddhe, Prapti Siddhe, Sarvakam Siddhe, Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vaishnavi, Varahi, Mahendri, Chamunde, Mahalakshmi, Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Akarshini, and then Sarva Mahankushe, Sarva Kechari, Sarva Vijay, Sarva Yone, Sarva Trikande. Of these, some names will repeat here. Why? When you are going inward, the same name means different in different context. For example, if I were to ask you, give me a ring, what does it mean? It might mean, give me a phone ring. Give me a ring at 3 p.m. It might mean, if I say the same statement, I go to a ring shop who sells gold, silver, and platinum rings. I say, give me a ring. Based on the context, the same statement has a different meaning. So the same Shakti in the different Avarna has a different meaning. Remember, in this chakra, Sarva Soubhagya Dayaka Chakra means this is a chakra which can give us Sarva is all. Saubhagya means all the treasures, all the auspiciousness. Sarva Samkshobhini, the first name, Samkshobhana means agitation, as we discussed in the the previous classes. But what does Sarva Samkshobhini mean? And again, somebody asked me in the comments, why are the names common? And this is the reason. For example, I think 5 names are common: Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Akarshini, and then Sarva Vashankari, and then we have Unmadini. Okay, this I will give you in the notes as well after the sessions are done, so you can refer. But the meaning is different, just like give me the ring. Based on which chakra, which context, which place you are in, the meaning of it is different. Now, let's understand the names of this. Then we will map. There are 3 things that we have to learn in this chakra. One is we'll map the 14 lokas with the 14 nadis, with the 14 shaktis that are will be discussed in this chakra. Along with those 14, for every chakra, we will have a Soundarya Lahari Slokam. This is the reason we are discussing the SriChakram after we attempted to discuss the very powerful Soundarya Lahari, which is the Tantra Sastra. What is a Tantra Sastra? We keep discussing. For everything we have in our Vedas, there is a mantra, there is a yantra, there is a tantra. For example, let's take yantra. TV is a good example that all of us use. TV is a yantra. To control the TV, you have a remote control. The remote control is the mantra. Knowing which button to press on the remote to get the desired outcome on the screen of the television is the tantra. So tantra is the bridge between the mantra and the yantra. In SriChakra, it's the yantra. The Panchadasi Namavali, the Panchadasi Namam, the Khadgamaala that we are discussing is the mantra. Understanding these meanings of what Sarva Samkshobhini means in the first Avarna and here, essentially these intricate details, so you basically can bring the context to the fore, is the Tantra. Doing the mudras, when I say this, without saying anything, a word, you understand it's namaskara. Similarly, when we do the mantras and the mudras of mother, essentially without saying a word, you are communicating something. Okay? So this is a simple example of yantra, mantra, and tantra. The Sarva Samkshobhini essentially means agitator of all. How does she agitate us all? When you don't get anything that you desire, you and I get disturbed, get perturbed, get agitated. In a physical realm, the Sarva Samkshobhini essentially means you basically have a burning desire to do something, buy a home, get married to a significant other, have kids, or do something purposeful, meaningful to discover your own truth. Today is Mother's Day. For me, every day is a Mother's Day. So wishing all of you a happy Mother's Day. Now, every woman gets married, or most of the women get married to become a mother because that's a full cycle. That's the reason even the Lalita Sahasranamas start. I say most of the women because I know some women, who don't want to become mothers. It's their personal choice. I respect, I have no view and opinion on it. But the first name of Lalita Sahasranam starts with Sree Mata, a girl turning into a woman turning into a mother. That's the reason Sree is the Shakti who can bring life onto this planet. When a woman turns into a mother, her love becomes unconditional. Only a mother can make a statement that even a father cannot. A mother can put her life on the line to pass on her longevity to her kids. And a mother oftentimes goes to the divine and says, you can take my longevity when her kids are struggling with any illness or any ailment. A mother actually prays to the divine, pass that ailment to me. Not all fathers do that. Okay, all fathers cannot do that. But all mothers do that. That is the reason when Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya wrote Soundarya Lahari, he described Soundarya. I said the synonym for beauty is mother. No matter what the physical features of a mother are, dark, fair, brown, whatever the skin color is, whichever language she speaks, the baby knows that it is safe with the mother. So even if you bring a Miss Universe and Miss World, who physically might appear very beautiful than the biological mother, the baby would only go to the biological mother because that's where it feels the safest. Okay, similarly, we all feel the safest with our divine mother. Now, the Sarva Samkshobhini, which agitates us all for a worldly desire, right? It could be a worldly desire, it could be a bodily desire. The Sarva Samkshobhana in the world is what moves everyone. In the Prathama Chakra, we discussed because our father and mother moved with that Samkshobhana of lust, they became one. Therefore, we are here. That is the reason in most of the Sanatana Dharmic temples, you will see on the temple walls of Khajuraho or any temple that you go to, you will see a man and women in a physical union position because in Sanatana Dharma, it is compared to the highest state of meditation, which can bring Shakti. The women tunes into the Parashakti in her, in the physical union, in order to bring a life onto this planet. It's not just represented as some kind of a lust or erotic pictures, but and these are represented on the outer walls of the temple, which is not inside the Garbhalayam. But if you need to go find the divine in it, within, Antaramukha Samaradhya Bahirmukha Sudurlabha, you should never get stuck with that. And as you have to go inside a sacrosanct to find the divine Vigraha Murti, Divya Murti, that living, pulsating form of the god or goddess, never get stuck with the physical desires that are just skin deep. You have to go within. That is the message Sanatana Dharma is sending. When we start agitating with the desire to go within, to find the divine, have the dialogue with the divine, which becomes the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not what Krishna told Arjuna in the Kurukshetra war field, but it is the inner voice that continues to tell us this is the right thing, this is the truth. Even if nobody is watching, I am internally watching. Becomes a feel-good factor or a guilt within. That is the true Bhagavad Gita. When you have that inner compass and consciousness alert, the Sarva Samkshobhini is turned inward. Okay? When you are longing for the worldly desires, you need to have a house, you need to have a car. We are in Grasthashrama. So everything in moderation is good. There's nothing wrong. But anything and everything in excess, it will start leading for the downfall. That would be the beginning of the end. Now, after Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, that one which can liquefy everything. What does liquefy everything? Before that, maybe what I'll do is I'll also tell you the Soundarya Lahari Shlokam that is mapped to this. Sarva Samkshobhini means anything gets agitated. What is a great example? For example, great rishis like Vishwamitra. How did Vishwamitra, become so attracted to Urvasi, Menaka? And then how did Parasara, the great rishi, move with lust when Matsyagandhi, mother of Vyasa, was helping him cross? He was 82 years old and she was hardly 16 years old, just reached her puberty and was turning into a woman. How did Parasara unite with a young woman who was stinking the smell of a fish? That's the reason she was called Matsyagandhi. And Parasara, and it was daytime. So according to Vedas, physical union should never be done before the sunset. So he created magical clouds on the Yamuna river. Yamuna is a representation of time. Magical clouds that he created with his Tapo Shakti are a representation of Maya and lust. But he realized that this girl can bear the baby who will bring the Narayana Amsa as Vyasa. Because Vyasa was born in between two islands on the Yamuna river, he is called Krishna Dvaipayana. Dvai means two, Payana, Dvipas. Dvaipayana means the one who is born between two islands. Krishna means the one who has bluish black color. Vyasa is a seat like Prime Minister. And Krishna Dvaipayana sat in that Vyasa and gave us Ashtadasa Mahapuranas, 18. Okay? In which Brahmanda Purana is also there, from which Lalita Sahasrama has been given to us. He has codified and documented it on what was discussed between Agastya and Hayagriva and Lopamudra Devi. Okay. Now, Parasara moved with lust because of this namam, Sarva Samkshobhini. And in Soundarya Lahari, Jagadguru gives a slokam, which essentially, if I recall it right, it is, I think, the fifth one. Okay. It goes as Haristwam. I have actually written on my notes in order to ensure, because we'll be jumping between three things. I don't want to miss anything. So let me read the shloka and give you the meaning briefly. Haristwam aradyam pranata jana saubhagya jananim puranari bhutva puraripumapikshova manayat smaro pitvam natva rati nayana lehena vapusha muninam apyantah prabhavatihi mohaya mahatam. Those Haristwam Aradhya, okay, when Vishnu, those saints who actually close their nose and are doing deep tapasya, even they are moving with lust. Example, Parasara I gave because Vyasa had to come. Vyasa also moved with lust in order to give birth to Sukamarshi, who gave us the Bhagavatam, right? And so every time a great devotee moves with lust, a Karana Janma will come. Like Aryamba and Shivaguru did 40 days of Shiva Diksha in the Kaladi Agrahar, and therefore Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya was born. Okay? So the Sarva Samkshobhini, this slokam that talks about Haristwam Aradhya Pranat. So those people who are praying to Hari, the Stitikara, Vishnu, right? Therefore, you see Jagat Gurus of Sringeri and in Shankaracharya Parampara, when you do Namaste to them, they say Narayan, Narayan, Narayana. When you look at them, they appear Shaivad. They have Vibhuti, they appear like, all the tridents everywhere. But the Archana they do is SriChakra Archana. So the puja they do is SriChakra Archana. The appearance they have is of a Shaivad. But when you do Namaste to them, they say Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Okay? And this slokam, I think it's the fifth slokam, is a representation of Sarva Samkshobhini. Okay, even when Vishnu took the avatara of Mohini, our divine father Shiva moved with lust, and therefore Harihara Putra Ayyappa was born to kill a Rakshasa. Okay, though they are above lust, they enact. But in case of Parasara, Vyasa, we have seen how mother moved them. So their spiritual energy can transfer a sexual energy into a Garbhalayam that can bear the Jivi, the Karana Janma that will come. Okay. So the first one, Sarva Samkshobhini, the mapping shloka is, I think it's the fifth shloka. Haristwam Aradhya, I don't recall the exact number, but when I do the notes, I will actually have that published out. But the shloka is Haristwam Aradhya Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janim Puranari Bhutva Puraripumapikshobha Manayatus Maro Pitwam Natva Ratinayana Lehena Upsha Muninam Apyantaha Prabhavatihi Mohaya Matam. Those people who are sitting in the frozen temperatures, who have controlled everything, even they are moving with lust. Okay? And that's not just, a useless lust. That's a very useful lust that will produce a very meaningful offspring like Vyasa, Sukha Brahma, and other Mahatmas who are born like Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya. In current day, we have many Mahatmas. Guruji Om Swamiji is an example. His parents never planned a third kid. It was a serendipity for all of us that Om Swamiji was born to his divine parents, and therefore a walking Jagdamba has arrived. Many such Mahatmas, Devaraha Baba. Nobody knows what the name of Devaraha Baba is. He has lived for more than documented 498 years in Krishna Vrindavan. Everybody keeps saying Radhe, 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 right? And they would consider, when they are saying Radhe, Radhe, they would consider Krishna, and Devara Baba is basically Devar. is the word from which Devaraha. So Devaraha Baba was considered everybody's Devar in that place because he has been living for so many centuries, documented for 118 years. Nobody knows what Babaji's actual name is. They started calling him Devaraha. How did he come? Right? Because of the divine Sankalpa that actually made his parents come together, and therefore a Mahatma is born. All the Mahatmas that we have are an example of this Sarva Samkshobhini and this Sloka. Then Sarva Vidravini, the one that liquefies everything. And what does liquefaction mean? When we discussed in the first Avarna, we said because the spiritual fluids have to translate into sexual fluids, so the sperm and the egg can unite. But in this chakra, Sarva Vidravini essentially means the one that dissolves everything. Once you dissolve everything, the state typically is a liquid. But there are some exceptions. Camphor is an exception. It goes directly, when you light it on fire, it goes directly from solid to a gas state with a transient liquid state that you will see. It turns into liquid and immediately vaporizes. That is the reason we light camphor to give arati to the God. May my ego, which is solidified, not just melt and become liquid, completely turn it into vapor. Let there be no presence of my ego when I have to do namaste to someone. Let the age, knowledge, skin color, the language they speak should never be a barrier. How they look, how they appear should never be a barrier. Okay, that is what Sarva Vidravani does when it internalizes, when it is externalizing, engaging us in the external world. A desire that comes to us continues to ensure it, basically like an ice gets melted, like a ghee melts when it is close by a fire, no matter how strong you are. Okay, the Sarva Vidravini, what it does, no matter how strong-willed you are, when you are getting distracted towards something, the Sarva Samkshobhini's sister is Sarva Vidravini. Okay, if a student is getting distracted by a mobile phone, what she or he should do is keep the mobile phone away, not keep it at an arm's distance. The moment they start reading, immediately a ping on the mobile starts kind of weakening their resolve not to look at the mobile. So switch off the mobile or keep it in the next room. Therefore, you are planning to have your resolve very, very strong. That is Sarva Vidravini. When it is internalized, your ego melts. When it is externalized, you get distracted with things. Therefore, you will not be able to go forward. That is the reason Mother is called Maya. As long as we are externally engaged because of the karma and the karmic things, she continues to engage us externally because of the karmic debt. The moment we are internalized, immediately she'll start taking us inward. What is the slokam? In Soundarya Lahari, the everything that gets it can be molten or can melt. Yes, the sloka is Mukham bindum krutva kucha yuga madastasthadado harardyam dhyaye haramaishite manmadakaram sasadya sankshobam nayati vanita ityatalagu triloki mapyasu brahmayate ravindus tanayugam. Why do we pray to Bhagavan Raman Maharshi? Why do we pray to saying Om Swamiji or Chandrasekhar and Saraswati or many gurus that we have seen? They are not physically attractive at all. But the Tithi Nityas that we discussed in the first class, all of them stand around these great devotees. And when we do the yogini sadhana, yoginis are the sevakas or servants of the mother. All these accompanied energies can be prayed to in four forms. One, you can pray to them as your sister, Bhagini. Two, you can pray to them as a friend, Mitrini. Three, you can pray to them as a wife or a lover. Okay. Four, you can pray to them as mother. Based on how we are praying to these accompanied energies, the results will come accordingly. Okay. But when you're praying to mother, the Dasa Mahavidyas, for example, you are praying to the mother as a mother. When you pray to Lalita Ma Tripura Sundari, you can't pray to her as a friend, as a sister, or as a wife or as a lover. You have to pray to her only as a mother, but her accompanying energies are pray to these four forms. Okay? And a lot of devotees who pray to them as a partner or as a wife, they will have a fall down because they get attracted to the physical form. What is the example? Vishwamitra. When Vishwamitra did tapasya to become a Brahma Rishi, first Apsara Urvasi was sent, then Menaka was sent. He lost time engaged in physical lust with them for thousands of years, not one or two. And then he realized, what the heck am I doing? Why am I wasting all my spiritual energy? Then went back. Eventually, when he won over the physical body limitations, that's when he became a Brahma Rishi. Okay? Now, this is what it's saying. Oh, wife of the Shiva, in your face, those who are praying to you, like a piece of metal that continues to rub onto a magnet, by induction, it will also become a magnetic over a period of time. Like you and I pray to Devi all the time, we will start getting some features, some similarities between Devi and us. And when we reach a certain level, the Titi Nityas, that all the Titi Shaktis that we're talking about, will start walking around the Srividya devotee, because there'll be no difference between the devotee and the divine. They become one. That's the last name here that we discuss, Sarva Dvandva Kshenkari, as we come to the 14th one. Okay? And therefore, those accompanying energies, because the Parashakti that is there in us, now we have invoked the divine mode in us. So they keep walking around us. That's how when you go to Mahatmas, they know your past, present, and future. These energies will do all of it for them. Okay? So this is what we are saying in the Slokam, saying, Mukam bindum krutva kuchayuga maste tado harardhyam de haramaishite manmanakaram sasadya Samkshobham nayati vanita ityatulgu triloki mapyashu brahmayati ravindus tanayugam. Oh mother, when you basically are feeding the cosmos by making the sun and the moon as your breasts, those who continue to pray to you could be a Ramana Maharshi, could be a Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, could be the current Om Swamiji. People, when they look at them, they get mesmerized, they get attracted by their physical beauty. Om Swamiji is one of the Sadhvijis. In her book, The Rainmaker, she has written, you can read this, on how initially in the Purvashrama, Sadhviji had lustful thoughts on Swamiji. And Swamiji very lovingly said, I can read those thoughts also on your mind. Right? He does not differentiate. He does not judge. He does not have any conditioning. That's the reason he has reached the divine state. He will look at everyone as his daughter or son, even if we have feelings otherwise. Right? And that level of courage, if a devotee is able to say, I had erotic feelings at my guru, that shows their transparency, that shows their transformation. That's the reason Mahatma Gandhi, in his book, My Experiments with Truth, he wrote, I stole money from my father's pocket and went to a prostitute. It takes a lot of courage to openly admit somebody's flaws. Only a transformed soul can do. Not everybody can do that. Okay? So this is an example of Sarva Vidravini on inward and outward. When we go to the next name, Sarva Akarshini, like I said, where Om Swamiji walks, or a Ramana Maharshi, he left his body in the 1950s. Even now, when people look at his picture, not physically beautiful, very old, very weak body. But the moment you look into his eyes, your heart melts, saying, what is this infinite passion and love that is in his eyes? Look at Ramana Maharshi picture at any point in time and try to stare into his eyes. Without knowing, you will start tearing up. Okay, that unconditional love. So, Sarva Akarshini, see, when kids reach their puberty and teenage, they want to do their best to attract their opposite sex or their significant other that they want to attract. Okay, that is an external representation of Sarva Akarshini. But if we talk about internal representation of Sarva Akarshini as it turns inward, the bhakti in Chandrasekharendra Paramacharya, Adi Shankaracharya left the body in the 8th century AD, almost 2300 years ago. Today we are discussing that Mahatma and calling him Bhagavad Pada because of his Sarva Akarshana. He has given us a lot of scriptures, lot of stotras, right? Om Swamiji is in isolation somewhere, living amongst us as a normal human. No matter where he is, a lot of people get attracted to his divine aura. What is pulling you towards the Divine Mother's class on this Sunday afternoon? That is a representation of the inversion. Bhakti becomes the center of everything. I want to know more about my mother, who continues to operate standing just behind my eye, making me watch everything, but I'm not able to close my eye and see her. What should I do? Close my eyes and open the Jnana Netram. Therefore, I start seeing that beautiful smiling mother of mine. And that's what happens when we basically turn to the Sarva Akarshini. And for Sarva Akarshini, I will try to bring the shloka as well. Sarva Akarshini, right? Sarva Akarshini is the third shlokam of Soundarya Lahari. Naram varshiyamsam nayana virasam sarma sujadam tava panga loke patitamanudavanti shatasa galadveni bandaha kuchakalasa visatra hatat katkancho vikalatu dukala yotaya. Beautiful sloka. A Muni who has grown his hair, matted hair, physically looking very emancipated, no attractive body. When he's walking, all the young, attractive women are jumping on him. And a lot of people, in Soundarya Lahari is also used to read as a prayoga, experimentative. When they keep, for every shloka, there is an outcome that is given. A lot of people misunderstand this shloka, Naram Varshyamsam, saying any man who chants this slokam, all the women will come running to him, attracting with Vashikarna. Absolute rubbish. When a devotee chants this shlokam why would Jagadguru give such a shlokam? When a devotee chants this shlokam, what happens is, first of all, Soundarya Lahari, the grammar of Sanskrit is not as easy as Lalita. A lot of people will stop attempting Soundarya Lahari the moment they start trying to read because of the relatively complex grammar and pronunciation. But those who continue to progress, as I said, a devotee who is walking on the path of mother, like the piece of metal that becomes a magnet, that devotee starts transforming into the divine mother, partially, if not fully. Just like the drop, if you take a glass of water from the ocean, it is still a representation of the ocean. It is not ocean. Similarly, each of you are a part of the divine that is there in us as a figment. Okay, but when we start nurturing the divine in us, all these Shaktis that we are discussing will start accompanying us. Not because of your physical attractiveness, because of your divine bhakti towards the mother. They start like, yatra yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, tatra tatra. Wherever Rama's name is chanted, Hanumanji comes there with blissful eyes that are filled with tears of joy. Similarly, wherever mother's name and mantra and discourses are discussed, these Shaktis will come, the Titi Nityas and all the Shaktis that we are discussing. So this shlokam that talks about Naram Varshiyamsam basically talks about that devotee, whoever is praying to mother, he or she will be accompanied by the mother's accompanying energies. And Om Swamiji has openly shared in one of the videos, okay, where the Titi Nityas stay around him, and anybody who needs to come to him, they are the ones who will filter what needs to be given to them, who can come to him, what can be given to them or not. Okay. And I'll try to search and find that video and share in the group, but you can find it. Many Mahatmas. That's how Neem Karoli Baba knew who was coming to him. Okay. And that's how Devra Baba know. All the accompanying energies will accompany that devotee because the devotee becomes the center. That's the reason today I did not represent this dot as a red one. Red is always the color of mother. Black because this represents you and I. You and I will become the center of the divine seat when we continue to pray. In the previous classes, some of you said when we are chanting, meditating, we feel as if somebody is always there around us. And I told you the accompanied energies will come. But if people don't experience these things, they'll say, oh, this is rubbish, this is BS. Okay, what you don't experience is always a secondary feeling. You are listening to second-hand experiences. The moment you start experiencing these things, you know there are energies that will come to enhance and uplift you. And these are the energies that are servants of our Divine Mother. Okay. The next name is Sarva Ahladini. When you start getting these experiences, Ahladam, Ahladam, Prahalladam, Prahallad, Bhakti Prahallad. Hlada means joy, bliss. Okay. When you start getting these experiences, you will start walking with much more rigor, determination. You will be very, very happy on the experiences that you're getting. People around you are chanting those mantras, namas, they are becoming healthier. They are being joyful. You will start seeing these directly. Okay? And hladam in a physical level means those that we get. This is Sarva Hladini, right? Those, whatever, if I have a desire, if it gets fulfilled, I'll be happy for some time. Okay? But if the same desire does not get fulfilled, it will make me unhappy. Now, Hlada, when it turns inward, what it does is it will make me get a desire that will fulfill my longing for my divine. I want to understand more about Khadgamaala Stotra. How do I experience it? It's not given in one book. It is, some of it is given in Bhavanopanishad, some of it is in Vamakeshwara Tantra, some of it is experiential experience that one has to get. Oh mother, when will my time come to understand your Rahasya Namas? I've been chanting Lalita, but give me your Jnana Khadgam, that knowledge as a sword that can sever my ignorance, that has been accompanying me from aeons, infinite life cycles. So how do I get rid of it? And then mother sends a stotra, a video that gives the meaning to your heart's content, which mother says, oh my dear kid, here is the banana that I've peeled it up. I'm chopping it into pieces that are very easy for you to chew and eat, enjoying and relishing it. The moment you start understanding these names and the meanings behind it, a joy you get, a bliss you get, that is Sarva Hlada. Okay? And for the Sarva Hlada, we have Tatil Leka Tanmim Tapana Shashi Vaishvanaramyim Vishannam Nishannam Shanyam Apyuparitavakalam Mahapadmatavyam Ritamala Mamena Manasa Mahanta Pashyanto Dadati Parmahlada Laharim. Okay, this is the slokam from Soundarya Lahari. Tatil Leka Tanmim we discussed, and I also shared with you the picture in the group a long time ago on the Mohini Ekadasi in Goa when I was actually chanting Mother's name, and a recent experience also whenever I request Mother that I want to see her presence. I know she's very much there, but just for my heart's content, just like a kid who's playing peekaboo with his mother, mother is accompanying all of us all the time, but I want to see her presence in one or the other form. So whenever I request, whenever you request, whenever anyone requests with a clean and longing heart, a lot of times, all of you have seen as well the pictures in which she appeared as a lightning. Tatil Leka Tanvim Tapana Shashi Vaishvanaramyim. Okay, just like that lightning. And we keep discussing the Rudra Dhyana Slokam Apatala Navastalanta Bona Brahmanda Mavispurjoti Spartikalinga Modi Velasat Purnendu Vantamrate Astoka Pratamekameeshamansham Rudranu Vakan Japan Dhyayet Ipsita Siddhaye Drupadam Vipropisham Jeshivam. And there Shiva also appeared as a lightning in Arunachalam, the Avirbhava Lingam. Okay, that exactly like that lightning comes and disappears. Hlada is an experience that just flashes and goes. But when you go visit a god or a goddess that you've been longing, when you're in that sacrosanct, your mind just calms down and you will have tears of bliss rolling. That's Hlada, Sarva Hlada. Okay. Then Sarva Sammohini. Moham, Sarva Sammoham means mesmerizing. As Vishnu became Mohini, took the Mohini avataram, distribute the Amrita that was born by churning of the ocean. The Sarva Sammohini Devi continues to churn our Manasu with one after another. Watch the mobile for some time, TV for some time, eat something, constantly engaged externally. Keep distracting us by showing an attractive face of a man or a woman, whatever we are interested in, and distract us with that, saying how beautiful they are physically. And therefore externalize our senses to be engaged. When you are externalizing your senses, you are disengaging with the internal divine. And therefore, you will not be able to stay calm. Whenever you are looking at something, that will trigger a desire. If the desire is not being fulfilled, you will get angry or you'll get unhappiness. But the same Sarva Sammohini, when it becomes internalized, it gives us the meaning, access to the secretive, cryptic meanings like some of these, the Lata Sahasranamas or the Sastras that we chant, and therefore make us absolutely blank. You don't have to sleep and get into Samadhi when you are chanting Sarva Sammohini. You just blank out. You forget time as a dimension. The clock ticks 5-10 minutes, but you have no clue. You lost yourself. And that is the process of Samadhi that we kind of try to achieve in meditation. That is Sarva Sammohini. Okay. And the mapping Soundarya Lahari Shlokam for Sarva Sammohini is, we discussed in the last class, Danu Paushpam Mauri Madhukaramayi Panchavisika Vasanta Samanto Malay Marudayo Danada Tada Pekas Sarvam Himangiruste Kama Pikrupam Apangatte Labdwa Jagadita Manango Vijayate. Manmada is shooting the third arrow, the mango flowers, and therefore mesmerizing us to get lost. When we are turning inward, the divine, the Banini Devi that we'll discuss in future in Khadgamaala, mother's Banini, one of the 5 floral arrows that mother has taken from Manmada, will be shot at us. And then we will, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, we will be lost in that nectar that is flowing from mother's feet. Great devotees are doing abhishekam to mother. That abhishekam is flowing into our lips as the Amrita Tirtham. Katha kale mata katha kalita laktakrasam pibeyam vidyarthi tava charana nirne janajalam. I am a vidyarthi. Pibeyam means drinking. Vidyarthi. I am Addi means I'm begging for vidya. What is vidya? Opposite of avidya. Avidyanam antastimira jadanam chaitanyastabakamakarandashruti daridranam chintamani gurnika janmajalado nimagnanam damshra moraripuvarahasya bhavati. Third slokam of Soundarya Lahari connected with 98 slokam of Soundarya Lahari. Right? Third from the beginning is third. 98 is the third from the end. So you have to see how it gets inverted. I am a Vidyarthi, Pibeyam Vidyarthi, Tava Charana, O mother, your Charana, Tava Charana, Ninne Janajalam. Your feet has been washed by that Jalam that becomes Amritam for me. Okay, that is what Sarva Sammohini does. When it internalizes, anything, everything we do, we look at it as a Prasada Bhava. Oh, this has been given by the divine to me. There are many qualified people, more hardworking people, but I'm blessed with this. This is the blessing of the divine as a prasadam, being grateful, attitude of gratitude. Okay, that is Sarva Sammohini. Then Sarva Stambhini, when you are mesmerized, you just sit, meditate, and you are freezing, you're frozen. Time freezes for you. When you are meditating, when you reach Samadhi, what happens? Time just freezes. You forget your bodily presence. You just get lost in trance. Okay? In the physical world, when you're moving with a desire, it could be a startup that you're trying to do. It could be a promotion that you're running after. It could be an exam. Some of it is required. But, when we are running after, last class I said, Kama Turanam na Bhayam na Lajja. When we are running after things without a balance, everything else pauses. Devotion pauses. Bhakti pauses. We are maniacally running after those material possessions. only to realize when we reach the second half of life how much time I have wasted. So Sarva Stambhini, when it is externalized, it will continue to engage in addictions, it will continue to engage in distractions that will keep us away from devotion and our own sadhana by following a prescribed format of anushtana. Anushtana means a disciplined ritual in order to become spiritual. When you start having a ritual with your own spirit, the inner voice, you will become spiritual. Okay, that is the reason when we talk about Uchishta Ganapati, we say Mahapisachi in his mantra. Mahapisachi does not mean a bhutam or pisachi. Like humans, animals, Pishacha, Mahapishacha means they are of a form of a cloud. They can just come anywhere in the form of a cloud, not bhutas and pisachas, right? So in Rajamatangi mantra also we say Uttishta or Uchishta Pisachini or Mahapisachini. That is a form, nothing to be scared of. Yeah, what we don't understand, we will always be scared of. Just like when you're walking on a dark road on a dark night, you just set your foot on a rope. The first thing that comes to your mind is maybe this is a snake, because by birth we are all scared of death. Because death is the only certainty, only goal that every one of us shares. Irrespective of our destiny, everyone is walking towards their death. Make hay while sun shines. Therefore, it's important to stall everything else and bring in our rituals to become spiritual. That's what Sarva Stambhini Devi does when she turns inward. Okay? And the shloka of Sarva Stambhini is Kiranti Mangebhya Kirannikurambam Nutrasam Hruditvam Adatte Himakara Shilamurtimeva Sasarpanam Darpam Samayati Shaguntadiva Jvara Prustan Drishtya Sukayati Sadadhara Taraya. The devotee who is praying to you in her or his mental plane and on the visual projection, for him or her, what happens? Everything pauses. That's the reason they're able to sit in samadhi for decades and centuries together. Recently, in the early 1980s, there was a sadhu by the name Jatala Sadhu in a place called Simhachalam, which is connected to Bhakta Prahalada. There, Vishnu is in the form of Varaha Narsimha. Varaha and Narsimha. When Prahalada was thrown into the beach by his father, Hiranyakashipu, Prahalada was thrown into the Bay of Bengal, which is by the closer side of Vishakhapatnam on the eastern side of India now. Then Vishnu came in a form of Varaha Narasimha Avataram. That time, Narasimha Avataram is not yet completely formed, but Vishnu in his gigantic form came, and those who went to Simhachalam will know the distance between Simhachalam and Vishakhapatnam is about 50 kilometers. Vishnu put one of his left foot on that mountain where the current temple is, the right foot in the beach or the sea of Bay of Bengal in the sea, and then rescued Prahalada. And when Prahalada did namaste to Vishnu, he said, I came ahead of my avatara time to rescue you, my dear devotee. And therefore here I will be in the form of Varaha Narasimha Avatara. And when your father questions and challenges, with your help I will emerge out wherever you stop your father's finger at. That's the reason Narasimha emerged out of a pillar, okay, and killed Hiranyakashipu. So if you go to the Simhachalam temple, you will see the face of Varaha, the pig, white pig, and the body and tail of a lion. The lower half is lion. Nowhere this avataram is listed. The reason to show the divine is a dayalu, unconditional, avyaja karunamurti, is to protect the devotee. The divine will come rushing. And that is a representation of Vishnu, who took the Narasimha avataram before revealing to the world. Therefore, he came in Varaha Narasimha avataram to show to his devotee that I will come. Similarly, in this shlokam, the Sarva Stambhini, when we chant this shlokam, what happens as a devotee who is continuing to meditate and pray to Mother, her or his will completely stall. When they reach that state of calmness, their capacity of yoga, what does yoga mean? We discussed many times, being in balance with nature. Their balance with nature completely is always in balance with nature. Because their body is in balance with the nature, their microcosm is balanced with the macrocosm. Through the phase of yoga, balancing the seesaw with the body and the outside world, the rogas will disappear. The bogas will start balanced. Bogas don't mean a lot to that devotee. Whether he's sitting in a 5-star hotel or a 1-star hotel or a no-star hotel, he or she will be thinking of the divine, saying, this is the prasadam that you sent my way. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. The external conditions don't decide their state of happiness. That's what this 6th slokam that we just discussed, the Soundarya Lahari. I'll put them in the discussion, the mapping slokas. Okay, so all of you can refer to them. When one chants this shloka, his or her rogas will get rid of. His or her imbalances will be gotten rid of. Okay, and that's how they follow a concept called na iti, not even this naiti, naiti, naiti. Keep removing things. So reach to a state of advaita, that which cannot be split into two, and therefore reach the feet of the Mother. That's what Sarva Stambhini does. And after that, we have Sarva Jrumbhini. What does Sarva Jrumbhini do? Sarva Jrumbhini essentially means the one like a flower budding, the bud in the night and opens up depending on which flower it is. If it's a nocturnal flower, opens up by looking at the moon or the rise of the moon. Or if it is, a flower that is triggered by the sun cycle, it gets opened up in the morning. Similarly, in our case, what Sarva Jrumbhini does in the external world, the distractions will continue to keep majority of people disengaged with their inner self. That is the reason Ravana Maharshi said, who am I? If you know that answer to that question, you know every answer to every question in the world. Okay? So you see majority of people are constantly trying to get distracted with one after another external engagements or distractions. Okay? But when you are going inward, the Sarva Jrumbhini, what it does is, as you understand these names, the avarnas, you are blossoming. Your mental maturity, your spiritual maturity is maturing up. You will become the dish that is now able to receive signal from those satellites that we call geostationary satellites that continue to send signals, because of which your TV continues to function. Whenever there are clouds, you will see maybe there is cloudy, it is raining outside, you are not getting signal. Once it clears out, similarly, whenever the mental state of clarity is disturbed, you will not be at peace with yourself. Therefore, every mantra in Sanatana Dharma ends with Om. No matter what the mantra is, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. My physical body should be at peace. My Sukshma Sarira should be at peace. My Karana Sarira should be at peace. So the Sarva Jrumbhini helps us physically blossom towards reaching our divine goal that we have. What is the sloka that we have from Soundarya Lahari? Kamindranam cheta kamalavana balata paruchim bhajante ye santa katichidaranameva bhavatim viranchi preyasa tarunatara shrungara lahari gabirabir vagbir vratatistam ranjanamami. So just like the sun that is rising can dispel the darkness, Aruna Karuna Taranga Takshim Dhrutapashankusha Pushpabana Chapam, like Udyat Banu Sahasrava Chaturbahu Samanvita, Udyat Banu Sahasrava, like a rising 1,000 suns. That is the light mother that comes when you are entering a devotee's life. That is the reason when white light splits into 7, red is the first light. Red marks change. Red is the first wavelength that splits. Okay, marking the change. That is the reason mother is denoted by red. She marks a change in a being. This slokam that says, Mother, whoever is praying to you, he or she will be blessed by Saraswati. Therefore, they will become kavis. They can chant your stotras, they can write your stotras, they can compose your stotras. And as they meditate on you, just like the rising sun, he or she will be blessed to blossom and become the best that they can be, and become better than the best that they can be, because with your divine interference, the word impossible becomes I am possible. And that I am possible is nothing other than I is the Bijakshara. Even if you take the English I and map it to the Sanskrit, I is a Bijakshara, okay, of Saraswati Devi. And Saraswati Bijakshara, Ma is the Bijakshara of Amrita. Rama, Ra is the Agni Bija, Ma is the Amrita Bija. When Saraswati, the Jnana Bija, is taking seat in Amritam, that jnana will take you a state where there is no mritam, no more death. This physical body as it is born will go through its last death in order not to be born, so it can go back to its creator. Kada kanchiki manam intiki. In Telugu, every story that grandmoms and moms and fathers used to tell will conclude with, our story has to end with going back to our divine mother, Kamakshi, whose navel is connected to us, just like our biological navel was connected to our biological mother. But our biological mother says, Kada Kanchiki. Eventually, our story has to go back to Kanchi, because that's where we have come from. That's the womb that we are connected to. That's the navel cord that we are connected to. But for the time being, in this Janma, don't go back to Kanchi, because it's her love, the Maya that says, Kada Kanchiki. Eventually, your story will go to Kanchi, but not in this Janma. In this Janma, we'll go back to our home. Okay, that's a saying that has come from Sanskrit, and all languages equivalent saying is there. That's what Sarva Jrumbhini does. After that, Sarva Vashankari, the one who takes control over everything. Okay, what does Sarva Vashankari know? All of you know, when a person moves with a desire or an anger, all of you would have experienced this. When you are very angry, you end up saying things that you don't mean. You regret over them. Why did I say this? I didn't mean. Okay. So Vashankari means taking control. Sarva Vashankari means the one who can take full control of you on what you say, do, how you engage, where you get distracted, where you get attracted, on all the worldly things. The moment it turns inward, how does it go? You will start getting self-discipline. The moment you have self-discipline, you're walking the path towards self-mastery. The moment you're walking the path towards self-mastery, na iti, not even this remove, not even this remove. That is the reason most of the saints, the reason they tie a loincloth is not because they don't feel cold, not because Shiva is called Digambara, not because he's nude. These Gyanis who basically reach a state of self-mastery, they are in a state of Digambara because they no longer identify themselves with this body. The moment they no longer identify themselves with the body, there's nothing called shame that exists. Therefore, they make the dik, means the directions will become their ambara, means that one which covers them. Therefore, when Shiva or Dattatreya are called Digambara, that doesn't mean they are nude. That means they're so omnipresent. Ishanam Sarvavidyanam Ishwaram Sarvabhutanam Brahmadipati Brahmanodipati Brahma Shivo Me Astu Sadashivom. Our favorite sloka that we keep repeating. Okay. And Sarvavyapi Maheshwaraha. In the Shiva Shadakshi Mantram, we get Sarvavyapi is everywhere. How will you cover him or it with a cloth? That's what basically Digambara means. When we talk about Sarva Vashankari going inward, we essentially are talking about self-mastery to get ourselves under control. Forget about controlling others. That's the reason we do pranayama. Our breath is not in our control. When you do pranayama, your breath comes under your control. When your breath comes under your control, breath is the leash that controls the monkey in the mind. When you control prana through yama, rules, uchasa, nisasas, inhale and exhale, what happens is the monkey in the mind gets arrested. When the monkey in the mind gets arrested, the monkey starts transforming into the divine Hanumanji. when it transforms into divine Hanumanji, the monkey will now get the power to cross the South Sea at the tip of the India to go to the Suvarna Lanka. What is Suvarna Lanka? The Lanka, an island that is compared to Suvarna means gold. This body is compared to the Suvarna Lanka in the Vedanta. Everybody treats their body, as if it is eternal. The anti-aging creams, anti-hair fall things, everything that we do to arrest our age, that is Maya. We think, we will become young and eternal. So this Suvarna Lanka, when Hanumanji, the monkey in us, transforms, he actually jumps from this mind, which acts as a monkey, from here, has to go to where the heart is beating in the Anahata Chakra. Who is making it beat? Shiva Shaktya Yukto. Shiva is sitting here and meditating, but his Shakti is making the heart beat. And here the Devi is sitting. So when Hanumanji is able to cross the 100 Yojana Samudra, he is going from mind to the source. And mother is sitting there in the Ashokavana where nobody cries. She is sitting with tear-eyed. Ravanasura, the Ravana Brahma or Dasakanta, the 10 airs. When you do Namaste, the prana that you inhale becomes prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana, naga, krikara, dhananjaya, devadatta and kurma. These are the 10 airs. When you do Namaste, these 10 airs are getting activated. When you inhale 10, the prana, it's going inside and splitting into 10 pranas, vayus. One which is blinking, the other which is secreting the saliva, ensuring the tongue does not fall between the teeth. The one that is controlling the diaphragm, the one that is controlling the blood flow, the one that is controlling the heartbeat, the one apanavayu that's controlling everything below navel. These are the 10-headed Ravanasura. We not able to control the prana. Therefore, the Kundalini in us is being wasted away one more janma. So mother is sad that we are not able to do our sadhana and awaken that Kundalini. Mahashakti Kundalini. In Lalita Sahasranam we say she is not normal Shakti. Mahashakti, not even Parashakti, Mahashakti. Maha word is not used lightly in Sastras. In Khadgamaala also we'll see. Okay, so that Ravanasura will be controlled. So Hanumanji will go take a message. The monkey is now starting transforming, crosses the 100 yojanas. See, when it is crossing, a lot of obstacles will come. First obstacle, Mainaka Parvata will, with 3 peaks, gold, silver, and copper. 3 states of existence, like the triangle, will come out, saying, your father, Vayudeva, help me. Why don't you rest? Like Rama Banam that has left the bow. It does not take rest anywhere. Hanumanji said he hit Mainaka's peaks with his chest and made them into powder. So we should go beyond our 3 states of existence, saying, oh, I should sleep now. Now I need to do sadhana. My sadhana is, if I do sadhana for half an hour, it's equivalent to 1 hour sleep. And that's exactly how meditation works. When you do meditation, you feel completely recharged and relaxed. Okay, if you do it properly. Then Mainaka crosses and goes. He sees Simhika. Who is Simhika? Simhika is arresting Hanumanji by taking hold of his shadow. Simhika is the daughter of Rahu, if I remember it right. Our habits, our attachments will start saying, oh, you are going spiritual. Why are you not spending time with your loved ones? Why are you not, engaging with them a longer time? Some form of physical attraction or attachment will keep coming our way. That is Simhika. When Hanumanji realized that, something is holding his shadow, like bad habits, they continue to haunt us. And nobody will know what is haunting us but for ourselves. Okay, just like our shadow does not leave accompanying us. Hanumanji gets rid of it, goes forward. A big, gigantic form in the form of Nagamata Surasa rises from water. And she says, I want to taste you, opens the mouth. And the huge Hanumanji, who used Mahima Siddhi or Garima Siddhi to increase his body, becomes anima, small atomic size, goes inside. Valmiki Ramana says like a kitten or a small size. He uses anima siddhi to shrink, goes inside, touches the tongue. If something touched your tongue, you cannot say you didn't taste it. You tasted it. You might not have registered the taste, but touching with tongue is tasting. So Hanumanji comes out and says, "Oh mother," he says, "Oh mother Dakshayani, I identified you. You are none other than that mother whom I'm going to get the darshan of in Suvarna Lanka. You are coming to test me, to test whether I can withstand the test." Then she said, "Buddhimatam varishtam." You are not called easily. You are the topmost in the intellectuals for a reason. The moment I said I wanted to taste you, she is Nagamata Surasa. Kundalini is a serpentine power in us. Nagamata Surasa came in the form to test Hanumanji. All the gods asked, look at that Mahakapi who is going, the Pavanaputra who has taken the form of Rudra Avatara, mother, to discover you. His tail is the one that has been giving him the balance. He's the Nishkalanka Brahmachari, married to the daughter of the sun god Suvarchala Devi, who is a tapasvi herself. Both of them got married in order to learn the Nava Vyakarna Pandita, that is Hanumanji. Without marriage, he cannot learn some of those. Therefore, both of them got married but never physically united. Hanumanji also has a son, from a fish that drank his sweat when he was crossing the ocean. That's a different story we'll discuss when we discuss Mayravana's death. Okay, and when Hanumanji was going, all the gods said, "Here is a great yogi who is going to do Atma Sakshatkaram. The Shakti in him is going to be revealed to him or her. Oh mother, we want you to test him one final time." Therefore, she came as Nagamata Surasa in order to test him. And when he passed the test in flying colors, she said, "Buddhimatam varishtam, you are blessed starting today. No serpent can cause you any danger, my dear son." And he crossed the sea and went into Lanka. Before going to Lanka, Lankini, the bodily attachment, stopped him and said, "Hey, monkey, where are you going?" Hanumanji very respectfully said, "I'm a monkey. There are a lot of trees here with fruits. I want to go around and see this beautiful Lanka and come back and eat a couple of fruits." And the Lankini said, "Nothing doing, you mad monkey," unnecessarily using words, right? And it hit Hanumanji. Hanumanji, though he got angry, not because Lankini hit him, because she was becoming an obstacle in Ramakaryam to discover mother's whereabouts. He became big and very gently hit her, slapped her with the left hand. Immediately she fell down and said, "Brahma told me the day a monkey comes and hits you and you basically are defeated in the hands of the monkey, that is the beginning of end of this Lanka." Which means the Lanka, this body, is reaching its final state of the cycles of birth and death. Therefore, O Hanuman, go inward and discover your mother and ensure you have a blessed visit. And Lankini guides, like when you're doing sadhana, your body aches, pains, will tell you how to adjust your neck, how to adjust your back, what is the posture. Lankini told him the aerial survey map of Lanka. And Hanumanji went inside. The Lankini did namaste to Hanumanji. And Hanuman went and Lankini said, "Starting today, the end of Lanka has begun." Okay? And that is the Sarva Vashankara. Coming back when Hanumanji went inside, he saw a lot of places. I'm doing Sundarakanda very, very briefly. And when he went from pole to pillar searching for Mother Goddess Sita, she was not visible anywhere. He went to Ravanasura's bedroom. The scene, as described by Valmiki, says, as if a mad ox mated with cows was lying. Around him, there were about 60 women whose body was not covered. All of them were stark nude. Nobody's Hanumanji, when looked at that scene, he could not figure out whose body's hand was whose leg was whose. In between, Ravanasura was lying with minimal clothing, as if a mad, lustful ox that mated with many cows was lying in between. That was the representation and depiction that was given by Valmiki. At a distance, there was a mother who was sleeping on the bed, very well dressed, very well mannered. Her sleep itself says how well behaved she is. For a moment, Hanumanji thought maybe this is Mother Goddess Sita. And immediately Valmiki ji says, by birth he's a monkey, therefore his monkey nature came in. The nature keeps coming back like a dog's tail. And Hanumanji said, why would my mother be here? Okay, I'm a monkey by nature. Therefore, I thought, a well-behaved, well-slept, decently dressed mother. I misunderstood her to be Mother Sita. But she is Mandodari, the Dharmapatni of Ravana, who was sleeping at a distance on a bed, very, very, very properly dressed and very properly, peacefully slept. Now, Hanumanji was not able to get the darshan of mother. Then he prayed saying, Mother, I went all the place around. I'm not able to get the darshan. Then he realized, oh, I cannot get the darshan of mother. Mother has to give me the darshan. Then he chanted the shloka. Mother, please give me your darshan. Then he went to Ashokavanam that he did not cover before. He saw the mother sitting there in one malla. They say the dress was little dirty, but no. The dress that mother got will never be dirty. Reason being, she was given the Divya Ambaras, okay, by Atri Maharshi and Anasuyamma. When they visited, Rama and Sita visited their hut before going further in their Aranyavasam. And Anasuyamma, the mother of Trinity in the form of Dattatreya, Durvasa Maharshi, and Soma, okay, she, the one who gave birth to the Trinity, who is she? None other than Sri Mata herself. Right? Karangul Nakotpanna Narayana Dasa Akrutihi. You are given birth to Vishnu's 10 avatars from your Kara, hand, Anguli, fingers, Naka, nails, Utpanna, produced. So who can give birth to the Trinity? The Devi herself. When Anasuya mother invoked the Parashakti and her divine form, she became one with Parashakti. That's the reason her womb could give birth to the Dattatreya, Durvasa, and Soma. So she gave saris to Sita because she knows the future. And that sari will never be dirty. So she was sitting in a sari that had a beautiful fragrance to its scent. The mother was completely draped, covered, other than her papidi, where kunkuma was seen, and her beautiful face, the whole body from neck down was covered. Nothing was seen, including the toes. Hanumanji went and did namaste to mother. The moment he did namaste to mother, he had his own Atma Sakshatkaram. Then he realized, oh my God, this is none other than the Parashakti herself. Whoever listens to this part of the Sundarakanda, therefore Sundarakanda is a secretive Tantra Sastra of Srividya. Okay? And Mother Sita, therefore, is Sri Rama is written on the bilva leaves that are offered to Kasi Vishwanatha, because Vishwanatha and Jagannatha are two different forms, two different names, but one energy without any difference. When you understand this, the Sarva Vashankari is functioning in you to go inward, to see the connectivity between Ramayana, Mahabharata, Soundarya Lahari, Sri Vidya Sastras, Ekam, Om, Omkaram Bindu Samyuktam, Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha, Kamadam Mokshadam Cheva, Omkaraya Namo Namaha. Everything starts with an Om, everything ends with Om. Only that is there. The pranava is the only one that takes, when you sit and chant next to a baby, oh, the moment you chant this, everything calms down. The Brahmari Nadam calms down the mind. The jumping monkey in the mind, it starts transforming the monkey into Hanuman. How Ravana's Sri Lanka is our body. The 10-headed Ravana is the one air that we inhale gets split into 10. How we can take control of it. The moment the monkey starts transforming into Hanuman, that monkey will carry Rama and Lakshmana on the shoulders. Who are Rama and Lakshmana? The two airs that we are breathing. In order to go inward through Ida and Pingala, to invoke that Sushumna energy to find Sita. In the process, a lot of monkeys will come, Jatayu will come, a lot of other people will come to help. Okay, we'll discuss those other intricate secrets as and when Mother allows and reveals as the namas come. But now moving forward, the Sarva Ranjani. Once you start understanding these details, you will be laughing. Oh my God, how beautifully everything is connected in this cosmos, just that I did not understand because of my abundant ignorance. Sarva Ranjani, you will start seeing a harmony and connect in everything that is already given. Okay, whether it is Ashtadas, Mahapuranas, Vedas, Stotras, Stutis, you will not start differentiating. Shiva is bigger than Vishnu, Vishnu is bigger than Brahma. All of them are same. As long as the Shakti is functioning in them, the light functions, the fan functions, the TV functions, the laptop functions. Shakti is not there, all of them are useless. So Shakti is the one that we are going and praying to as our mother, father, whatever name we attach. That is Sarva Ranjani. Sarva Ranjani is shlokam that is from Soundarya Lahari, is Savitri Bir Vacham Shashimani Shilabanga Ruchibi Vashinyadya Bistwam Sahajanani Sanjintiyata Sakarta Kavyanam Bhavati Matam Bangi Ruchibi Vachobir Vagdevi Vadana Kamala Modana Madurai. What does this say? This basically talks about, oh mother, you are the treasure house of speech, Vak Devi. Vashini, we'll discuss this in the Sarva Roga Chakram that will come, the seventh Chakram, right? And all of them essentially will start helping that devotee who is praying to you. They will start connecting the bridges between the different Puranas, the different stotras, the different stutis. For example, whatever the Ramayana thing I discussed with you, I don't remember reading that in this lifetime. When we are sitting and meditating on mother's names, I just experienced how Vagdevis continue to show us the connectivity with Ramayana, between our body and the Sri Vidya and the witness of mother. Okay, this is the prime reason why I sit and pray to mother and then try to explain her namas, because there are many stotras, stutis, and vyakhyanas that are given and documented. But the secretive names will only come when the Vagdevis permitted by mother function in us to bring those secretive names out. Okay? What we just experienced, all of us, including myself, is a representation of the Sarva Ranjani Tattva. No book will tell you how Ramayana and Sri Vidya and these are connected. Okay? So if an insignificant and ignorant person like me, when sitting and trying to explain two words, is able to experience, I know all of you are putting a lot of effort, a lot of love towards mother. Imagine what each of you will be accomplishing, if not already. That is the Sarva Ranjana Tattva. That's what is given in the Slokam. Oh mother, the devotee who is praying to you, he or she, with the clean heart, they don't have to know Sanskrit, they don't know how to know Prakrit, they don't have to know Akash, all these languages that all the elevated beings speak and communicate with. But if they have devotion, everything else will be delivered to them by the accompanying energies of the mother, who will accompany the devotee, she or he who is genuinely making an effort to discover her or his own truth by making the Divine Mother his or her axis, the dot in the center. That's when the black dot starts transforming to red, because there's no difference between mother and the divine devotee. And that is the reason we touch the feet of the Guru, because it's not the physical Guru that we see, it is the Jagan Mata, the walking Jagadamba that we see in our Guru, who becomes the Vak Devi for us, giving us the access to the cryptic knowledge that we will never understand, even if we spend next 5 lifetimes reading all the Puranas, unless until the time comes where Mother chooses to reveal each of these names. You have read all these Mahabharata, Ramayana. Here is the secretive meaning, my dear daughter and son. Here is how they function, and the divine starts showing the connected dots, how the microcosm and the macrocosm are connected, how everything in this cosmic plane is connected, irrespective of what time they happened, why they are still relevant to us. Why is our faith called Sanatana Dharma, ancient righteous way of doing? Why? Because everything, no matter when it happened, it still is very much applicable to you and I now. It will be applicable to everyone who will come even 100 years after. Therefore, it never ages. The more it ages, the more relevant it becomes. That's the reason in Kali Yuga you will see a lot of people turning to spirituality again, because it gives bliss to people. Okay? That is the Sarva Ranjani Namo. Then Sarvonmadini. Unmada means state of a mental ecstasy. When you are going after a desire like there is no tomorrow, you are going into a state of Unmatta Avastha. You forget sleep, you forget food, you forget everything. When you are walking with devotion and absolute trust and faith, your state will be no different. People will be thinking, why is she or he praying such a long time? Why are they writing Sri Rama name so many times? Because you are moving with an Unmatta Avastha. Okay? Some of you actually share your experiences, the way you document. Why are you documenting whatever I'm sharing in your beautiful, handwriting? I've seen some of you share the Sri Rama Namam. So beautifully mesmerizing, like a divine print it is you are writing. What is making you write? That is the Sarva Unmadana Avastha. The divine ecstasy. You have tasted the divine ecstasy. Once you taste the divine ecstasy, you will never fall for any materialistic highs that the substances will give, that the pleasures will give. You started tasting. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say a story about a peacock that would come at every day 5 o'clock, and a devotee who used to eat a piece of opium would put it to the peacock. Every day, like 5 o'clock clockwork, that peacock would come because it started tasting that opium. Similarly, the moment you start enjoying the bliss of the divine peace in you, you will start going ahead with absolute trust in whatever your guru or guru equivalent tells, because you started getting these experiences where you are tapping into the ecstasy all the time. Okay, that is the Sarva Unmadana Avastha. And what is the Soundarya Lahari Shlokam that maps to this? Smita Joshna Jalam Tavavadana Chandrasya Pibatam Chakorana Masi Datirasya Chanchu Jarima Ataste Shitamsho Amrita Lahari Amla Ruchaya Pibanti Swachandam Nishinishibrusham Kanchi Kadaya. Beautiful. Like the Chakora birds, which have seen mother's face once. Chakora is a Vedic bird that lives only in air, feeds on the moon's rays during the sunrise to sunset. They typically try to hide under the clouds to protect themselves. They feed on the moon's cool rays. They drink the water that vaporizes or raindrops that are falling. This Chakora bird essentially has looked at your face once. A devotee was praying to the Paurnami moon, and you are called Shodashi. So your face is compared to that full moon that only your devotees can see, like Mukha Shankara before he wrote the Mukha Panchasati. Or the devotee Ananda Bhattar, in Abhirama Bhattar, who actually saw Abhirami and showed a full moon on an Amasya night, therefore composing Abhirami Antyadi, like Antyakshari, we sing and play, the last Akshara becomes the first Akshara for the next song. Abhirami Antyadi is a beautiful composition by Abhirama Bhattar. He was sitting in the temple and meditating. That day was Amavasya. And the king came, everybody stood up. Abhirama Bhattar were lost in Sarva Unmadana Avastha. The king felt insulted. He went and took the darshan of Amrita Gateshwara. This is the place where Shiva, this is a place called Tirukadayur in Tamil Nadu. Shiva killed Yama and brought back, made Markandeya Chiranjeevi. Amrita Gateshwara. Okay, that's the reason Shiva is called Amrita Gateshwara there. Mother is called Abhirami. Beautiful temple. Sashtipurti, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. If somebody survives 100 years, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 birthdays are celebrated there very, very beautifully. In this Tirakadayuru place, a devotee was sitting and he did not realize he was in Sarva Unmadana Avastha, going through all these states: Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Akarshini, Sarva Ahladini, Sarva Sammohini, Sarva Stambhini, Sarva Jrumbhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Vashankari, Sarva Ranjani, Sarva Unmadini. He was in Unmadana Avastha. The king felt insulted. As he finished the darshan, he asked the soldiers to wake him up. And they woke him up. He got up and the king asked him, "What is today's Sthiti?" He said, "Paurnami." The king smiled and said, "This evening I'll come to this temple. If you fail to show me the moon in the sky, your head will be separated from the torso." He said, "Okay." And everybody said, "Why did you say it's Paurnami?" Then he said, "I was meditating on mother's face. And when they woke me up accidentally, all I remember was that beautiful face of mother as the full moon. Therefore, I said it's Paurnami." That evening, the king and the whole village came. Abhirama Bhattar, the great devotee of mother, who was meditating in the morning and looking at the mother's face as full moon, started chanting Abhirama Antadi, beautiful slokas in Tamil. When he came to 68th shloka, if I recall that right, a beautiful moon appeared in the sky that everybody saw. Mother took her right earring, one of the earrings hanging. Mother threw it in the sky to protect her devotee, like Vishnu came in the Varaha Narsimha Avataram to protect Prahlada. Everybody saw that beautiful sky that was lit up with a full moon. For not 1-2 seconds, for full 8 seconds, it crossed. Everybody saw and everybody was mesmerized. Everybody was asking you, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Right? And exactly these Chakora birds saw the moon as mother's face. From that day, they started drinking the moon's rays because they have tasted Amrita like sweet when they witnessed mother's face. When you taste something very sweet, what do? You eat a piece of salt to break the taste on the tongue. From that day, the day they saw the mother's face and the nectar-like taste they have, they are not able to break the taste. And every day as the moon is coming, they are trying to drink the moon's rays, which now appear very salty. But even after drinking them for many centuries and generations, the sweetness that they tasted on their tongue by witnessing mother's beauty as the full moon did not go yet. That is what the slokam says. Okay? That is Sarva Unmadana Avastha. Sarva Arthasadhike. Sarva Arthasadhike, essentially we know, is basically everything that you are asking for can be accomplished, O mother. This is Sarva Arthasadhike, right? So, yeah, the 11th name. And I have a lot of notes here that I'm trying to organize, and I'll try to make it a PDF and give it to all of you once the classes are done, on which slokas, where they are coming from. The Sarva Arthasadhaka essentially will help us dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? Chaturveda Parapurusharthas. When you are getting married, you are trying to tie your kama, the desire, with dharma. Therefore, get the artha. What is the artha you get? You have a pitrunam. I have a pitrunam. The moment we get married, when we get kids, we are owing to our pitrus being born in the gotra. So having kids is a mandatory thing. Otherwise, pitruna. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, you will see a lot of people are not able to have kids because of the Pitru Runa, and they'll again increase their Pitru Runa by choosing not to have kids. Okay? And whenever people are not able to have kids, they say do the Pitru Tarpanas, do the Narayana Bali if you haven't done proper final rites to your ancestors. Therefore, they are very important. They become Pitru Devatas. So, Sarvartha Sadhaka. So, if you need to accomplish Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, it's like taking an 8 feet long rope. If you start cutting, if I ask you to make 2 feet length ropes, how many times you have to cut? You have an 8 feet length rope. You cut the first time, you have a 2 feet and a 6 feet. You cut the second time, you have a 2 feet and a 2 feet and a 4 feet. You cut the third time, you have 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and one cut will give you 2 pieces. 2 pieces. Similarly, in order to get moksha, first follow your life with dharma. Bring dharma into everything that you do. What dharma I have? A brother, a sister, a husband, a wife. Whatever dharma, dharma changes based on the context and the portion. Just like the word I said, give me a ring. If you say give me a ring in a gold shop, they'll give you a gold, silver, platinum, whatever ring they have. If you're talking to a person, say give me a ring. If they have the number, they'll say at what time and give you. So the same word, different context, different meaning, different person. Okay. Now, dharma based on the context, artha, earning money, having kids, earning rightfully whatever is yours, bhakti, Rishi Runam we'll have. You have to understand the Rishi literature. That is also artha, jnana. You are doing a jnana arjana. Okay, not just dhanarjana, punya arjana. You have to do dharma, artha, kama. Fulfill all your desires rightfully. Okay. Then, once the 3 are fulfilled, like the 3 cuts in the 8 feet rope, moksha naturally comes as an outcome. You don't have to try for moksha. That's what this Sarvartha Sadhaka, name means. When a person is externally engaged, he or she will consume their whole physical strength and energy to keep getting an external goal, just to pass it on to their offspring, their next generation, if they don't have kids, to a trust or a temple. Why should you waste your time in getting only external material possessions? Why can't you get the spiritual bank balance that will help you beyond this life, beyond this janma, beyond this body, beyond this form? That's how the inversion happens. And therefore, you will start investing in spiritual bank balance. That is Sarvartha Sadhaka or Sarvartha Sadhike. Then Sarva Sampatti Purani. Once you understand how this Dharma, Artha, Kama, the 3 cuts on an 8 feet long, all things will naturally start coming to you. Sarva Sampatti Purani. All Sampattis. Sampatti means the prosperous wealth that will continue to help you prosper and not spoil you. You see a lot of people who become prosperous, a lot of people who win money and who wants to be a millionaire or kaun banega crorepati, after 2-3 years, go see what happens to them. They lose their money because they don't know how to protect that money or the riches that they got. Protecting what you got is extremely important. Therefore, when you do Sarvartha Sadhaka, the Sarva Sampatti Purani gives you material riches. You see, wealth, you know how many wealthy people ran away from India because they have done something wrong and they are now fugitives living abroad. They call themselves, we are not thieves, but why are they running away then? Okay, so even if they have money, material riches, they are daridras. They cannot live in the society with what they have. So Sarva Sampatti Purni means you will have all the riches, you will be able to enjoy all the riches rightfully, peacefully, blissfully. That is Sarva Sampatti Purni. For the Sarva Sampatti Purni, you know the sloka that I keep chanting regularly, the 3rd sloka of Soundarya Lahari. Avidyanam antastimira mihiradvipanagari jadanam chaitanya stabaka makaranda shrutyari daridranam chintamani gunanika janmajalado nimagnanam damshra muraripu varahasya bhavati. No matter which daridra you and I are, if we pray to Mother, daridranam chintamani gunanika janmajalado, she's the chintamani tree for us. And she will give everything that we need. Vanchitartha Pradayani. You don't have to ask her. She knows what you want better than you know. So she will fulfill everything without you asking. You just continue to ask her for one thing. Mother, you are allowing me to pray you I'm very grateful, very blessed. Please ensure my chain of continuity does not break and I am allowed to pray to you. Because without your permission and approval, I can't even think of your name, Mother. You are my Icha Jnana Kriya Shakti. You are there in the form of Vagdevis. What am I talking about? So please allow me to chant your name, stuti, stotra, stories, leelas, mantras, whatnot, and enjoy your name as the biggest treasure I have. That's how the inversion happens. Sarva Sampatti Purani. Sarva Mantramayi. Mantramayi is a name in Lalita Sahasranam also that we have. Sarva Mantramayi. Oh Mother, you are the name. We have discussed the aksharas, aksharamalas. You are all mantras. Everything is in you. Everything, if I'm praying to your physical form, it is a representation of your Panchadasi. We say your face is the first 5, your torso is the next 6 bijaksharas. From thigh, Kantada Katiparanta, Mantakuta Swarupani, Katido Bhagadani, Shakti Swarupani, Mula Mantratmika, Mula Kuta, Traikalebara. Your body is a representation of that Panchadasi Maha Mantra. When I am externally engaged, what am I talking about? Sarva Mantramai. I am engaged in external conversation. Vak is a mantra. I told whatever you say, Vakdevis are watching, be very careful. We are constantly engaged in external engagements, singing, music, right? That have, you see, no matter who it is, even if you don't have the knowledge of musical notes, you will enjoy the swara. The moment a note goes out of Shruti, you will immediately know something is not right. Okay? Similarly, when you are externally engaged, you will continue to do your external work like a tapasya in order to look at great people like Elon Musk and others. Albert Einstein, what did Albert Einstein say after he realized E is equal to mc square? He revealed it to it. He said there is a supreme power. You can call it God. If there is an order in this cosmos through which all these things are being run, Albert Einstein said, I'm not able to maintain my room in the Princeton University. Just one room. I'm not able to maintain with order. Printouts are everywhere. Research papers are everywhere. I'm not able to maintain the chaotic order. But if somebody is maintaining order in this whole cosmos, do you think it's happening just by forces and accident? There definitely is a supreme force that you can call it God, you can call it whatever you want, that is controlling all these things. And he said that supreme force is called with different names in different cultures. But Sanatana Dharma is the one that first represented the people who invented the zero are the ones who said this whole cosmos is being run by an energy. I am today calling it E is equal to mc square, but they called it Parashakti a long time ago. And they also said light travels faster than sound. E is equal to mc square is something that he has given. That's the same sloka, Shiva Shaktya Yukto. Shiva, if you look at a Kali Mata picture, Kali is the kinetic energy moving. Resting energy is the Shiva. A pond with no waves is Shiva. The moment you pelt a stone into the pond, the waves that come is the Kali or the Shakti. And Albert Einstein said, I am giving this equation now, but this has been given in the Vedas and the Stutis in various forms much, much, much before. So to that faith and those people I bow down is what he has said. Okay. Then the numbering, I have put 13 and 13. This should be 14. It should. The next one is Sarva Dvandva Kshayankari. Once we realize all this and come to the 14th energy, we realize, oh Mother, I might look different, they might look different, but all of us are a representation of you, just like that ocean. We are carrying 5 glasses and everybody has a glass of water. Somebody is carrying a glass in the shape of a normal glass. Somebody has in a bottle. Somebody has it in a big bowl. Somebody has it in a mug. The forms are looking different, but the content in that, everything is taken from that sea that you are. We all appear externally different, but the internal content is none other than you. The day we realize Sarva Dvandva Kshayankari, all the duality, Kshayankari, she erodes it away. And that's when, oh mother, I realize the divine in me and I start walking the first step. The triangles are a representation of defined state of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. This is no longer circle that is going without my control. I control how long I need to be sleeping. Probably an alarm or a biological alarm that wakes me up at a different time. I need to know when to sleep, what time I should go to bed to after my meditation, sadhana, depending on what I'm doing, what time it is. Okay, a defined line. So these three states come together. Therefore, a triangle is a representation. The bottom inward triangle we'll discuss. Upward triangles are representation of the Shakti. Downward triangle is a representation of the Shakti. Upward triangle is a representation of Shiva. Downward triangle is a representation of Shakti. Shakti is generally represented as Yoni, okay, the feminine aspect. And that Shakti, the union of this upward, from now on, you will see all upward, downward triangles. Okay, 5 and 4 triangles, 4 upward triangles, 5 downward triangles. The intersection of that is this fourth Avarna, Sarva Dvandva, Shankari. Okay, and this completes the Sarva Soubhagya Dayaka Chakra, where all the yoginis are called Sampradaya yoginis. Why are these called Sampradaya yoginis? Sampradaya means tradition. Okay, what tradition? We are talking about tradition of our Sri Vidya, of our mother. There are many paths in Sri Vidya. Kaulacharam, Mishracharam, Vamacharam, Dakshinacharam. Based on the path that our Guru lineage walked, we will take the path. Okay? Just like the same road connects from your house, the freeway, to the airport, but everybody takes the same road, goes in their car or vehicle. As they are going, they experience different things depending on which side of the car, rear view, side view, back view, whichever way they are looking. 4 people going in the same car are looking at 4 different things. They'll experience 4 different things because not everybody is looking at the same thing. A bus that is driving 40 people, Guru is the driver who is driving all the 40 people on the same path. All the 40 probably might be looking at different things, different thoughts, but irrespective of their thoughts, how they look, how they appear, they are being driven in a bus that their Guru is driving, taking them to their destination. So there are multiple, there might be the same path, you are going in multiple vehicles, but who is driving you ahead will also decide how safely you're going. If somebody is driving you and they fall asleep in between, then it's very dangerous. If somebody is driving recklessly on the path, not only they'll cause an accident to themselves, but they are also a danger to others. Right? Therefore, it is very important to understand whoever is coming in the Sampradaya, they will be given the Guru Paduka Diksha and the mantra only after a Guru finds him or her eligible to be revealed to the mantra. Otherwise, that sadhaka alone will bring harm to all the lineage because of the accidents that she or he can do by driving recklessly or choosing not to drive. Others will come and ram into them or dash into them, just like it happens on the freeways. So it's extremely important to choose the disciples on the lineage by the Guru. Not everybody wants to get access to Sri Vidya. That is the reason yoginis in the Palashruti, they say, don't give Sri Vidya without checking the eligibility of the devotee. And if you give the Sri Vidya access to those without checking their respect for Devi and Sri Vidya and the divine, without checking their eligibility, the yoginis will become angry at the one who has given and at the one who has got. Therefore, they will face a lot of hardships. But we have no fear. We move with love. We move with respect. We are reaching our mother. We are not going to any other. Therefore, when you go ahead, crawling ahead to your mother's feet, all the Shaktis that are accompanying will help us. I also told you briefly, which we'll discuss probably in a different call and different class. These 14 Shaktis are connected to the 14 lokas. What are the 14 lokas? There are 7 lokas above, there are 7 lokas below. What are the 7 lokas? We have Satya Loka, we have Tapaloka, Jnana Loka, Mahar Loka, Swara Loka, Bhuloka. These are the 7 above us. There are 7 below us. They are Atala, Vitala, Patala, So, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Patala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. What I think I repeated Patala twice. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, then Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala, and then there would be one more. Let me see if I have noted it down anywhere. I'm not recalling at this point in time. Yeah, I think 7 only. Yes, I'm trying to recall an 8th one. So what do these mean? Atala, Sutala, Patala, Talatala. The first one is Satyaloka. Satyaloka is where everything is absolutely true. The loka that is typically controlled by our Sahasratala Chakra. Okay. Then first Satyaloka, then I'm going by the body geometry. Then Tapaloka. Tapaloka is the Agya Chakra, where you are doing tapasya. When you close your eyes, unknowingly your focus and concentration comes under the Sambhavi Mudra, the third eye. This is the Tapaloka. Then the Jnana Loka. Jnana Loka means where is knowledge flowing from? If I'm able to speak, it's coming from the Vishuddhi Chakra. This is the Jnana Loka in our body. Then the Mahar Loka. Mahar Loka is where all the Mahatmas. Where is Mahatma sitting in your body? The Anahata Chakra. The Paramatma is sitting here and making the heart beat. Therefore, all the saints come into this cave. If you continue to pray to the Lord, all the saints come because your heart is no longer beating with some meaningless sound. It's beating shub lab for you. But if you're chanting Ram, 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 Devi, 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 that's the sound you keep listening to. That's what will become your heartbeat. That's what we call Hamsanadam. Okay, internally you keep listening to that sound. Nobody else will be able to listen. When your body becomes the temple, all the saints in the lineage will start dwelling your body. And that's how the body becomes a divine dwelling place. Okay. Then that is Maharlokam. Then Swarlokam, or where the Manipura Chakra, we discussed Anahata, then the Manipura Chakra, the Loka of the Indra, are first connection with mother was the umbilical cord, from which it kind of continued to grow. So that Manipura Chakra becomes the Swarloka. Then Bhuvarloka. Bhuvarloka is essentially the realm or the world between, in Gayatri Mantra also we get this Bhuvar, right? Earth and sun. Where is this Swadhisthana? Why Swadhisthana? Swadhisthana Chakra is the one that is controlling the bowel movements. Whatever water you throw, whatever food you throw, whatever needs to become your body, that will become your body, flesh and blood. Whatever needs to be thrown out in the form of urine and stool are being thrown out by Swadhisthana Chakra, right? And then the 7th one is Bhuloka. When you sit, where is the stability coming from? The base of the spine. That is the Mooladhara Chakra. These are the 7 chakras or the 7 lokas that are there in our body very much. The macrocosm being, remember I started the class with Pindanda representing the Brahmanda. This is how the Brahmanda represents in Pindanda. Then the 7 lower worlds. What are they? Atala. Atala Lokam is the world that rules our body of desires. Okay, governed by Aham, ego, and desires. Then the second one is Vitala. Vitala is when we have a transformation, chemical transformation. When you reach puberty, boys' voice changes. Girls have a puberty when they change from a girl to women, when their monthly menstrual cycle kickstarts, representing that they can now become a mother, with the right age. That is basically Vitala, representing the chemical changes or the harmonic changes in the body. Sutala, essentially, Sutala is basically a place of high merit and devotion that is ruled by Bali. No matter how many sins we have done or committed, the moment we start surrendering to the divine, like the Bali was crushed by Vamana, the dwarf avatar of Vishnu, to the Patala, but was made king. Why was Bali not killed? Because of his grandfather. Tell me your friends, I'll tell you what you are. The lineage that in which you are being initiated is important because of their tapasya and their siddhis, their dedication and devotion. The moment you find a guru, your puja, your sadhana starts getting accelerated, not because of your own efforts. You are the same. You're still doing the same thing, same mantras, but now you got access to a lineage which provides you the steps and the stairway in a grand way. Therefore, your sadhana will start accelerating. Okay? That is the Sutala. Tala is basically where we have technical mastery. Essentially, everything we start measuring. Okay, I'm 5 feet long, 6 feet long, I'm 80 kgs weight. all the measures that keep coming in. I should increase my weight, I should grow my weight, this is my waistline, this is the fat in my body, this is the cholesterol in my body, that tala, internal body. Then the Mahatala, the realm of great serpents, okay, external world. In us, every thought that comes, how can I channelize it to either it's an external thought, I have to do external thought to some extent because in Grihastha Ashrama, but don't get consumed by it, or how do I make it an act of a divine act with respect to turning this serpent to the mother serpent that is there in me, you, everyone, as Mahashakti Kundalini. So knowing the path, doing everything as an act of divine deed is basically where we do the Mahatalam. Mahatalam is, we all know there is a Kundalini in us. We all know that people can awaken it, but we don't know how. Right? When we start doing sadhana, that plane in which we operate becomes the Mahatalam, in which the great serpent that is latent in all of us can become consciously active. Okay? And then we have Rasatalam. What is Rasatalam? Rasatalam is essentially where our reproductive fluids and all the fluids of the body, saliva, blood, and the wetness in the eye, everything is being produced through the water that we drink, the food that we eat. The food that we eat is digested into a liquid so it can get absorbed into required nutrients. Who is doing all of it? One of the airs that we inhale, prana that gets split into, helps in digestion. But this is the rasatara, therefore they're called rasas. Then the patala. Patala is essentially that which is ruled by Vasuki. Who is Vasuki? Vasuki Kantabhushnam Vame Shakti Dharam Devam Vakaraya Namo Namaha. Okay. Irrespective of whichever state you are in, you are a being of Shiva. When you start reaching out to the feet of the Shiva, irrespective of our state of existence, which means Sharanagati. Right? Why do we Sharanagati? Why do we do Namaste to the Guru's feet by lying down on the floor? We say, "Oh Guru, I have fallen down. I cannot go any more down. Now, I am on the ground. If there's anybody who can lift me, that is you and you alone, the divine representation. Therefore, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sree Guru Murtaye Namaha. Oh Guru, I have fallen and there is no further place for me to fall down. You are the one who has to uplift me. Therefore, please, with your blessings." And then a Guru lifts the devotee up. Okay, that is the 7 lokas. Then basically we'll discuss the 14 nadis and conclude on how these nadis we'll discuss again in future. But we have 72,000 nadis in our body. The 14 that are important essentially are Sushumna Nadi, we discussed, is the most important, through which the Kundalini goes. Ida and Pingala connected to the nostrils. Then we have Gandhari, which connects to the left eye, yes. And then we have Hastitva. Hastitva actually connects to the right eye, okay. And then we have Yashaswini, that Yashaswini, yes, is the left ear, connects. Then we have Pusha. Pusha connects to the right ear. Then we have Alambusha. Alambusha connects to the mouth, ensures the tongue continues to function, the mouth continues to function, and speech, taste, and all these functions. Then we have Kuhu. Kuhu is the nadi that connects to the genitals and the anus. It ensures all the excess fluids and excess waste in the body are eliminated by bringing in the balance. Then we have Kuhu connects to the genitals, and then we have Shankini. Shankini connects to the anus, throwing out the stool. Then we have Payasvini. Payasvini connects to the right nostril. Okay, we discussed right and left eye. We discussed Ida and Pingala connecting to the nostrils, but the nostril tips are the ones that are connected to Payasvini and Varuni. Right nostril and left nostril are basically connected. These are Pingala's, Ida Pingala's secondary functions. Okay, Payasvini. Then we have Varuni. Sometimes you sit, you see pulses in your body go up at regular places, or sometimes, you see at different places. All these pulses are controlled by the Varuni, which controls the nerves and the metabolic function. That's the reason when you go to a doctor, they'll check your pulse and decide how your Vata, Pitta, Kapha are balanced, which is again a representation of triangular balance. Then we discuss Varuni. Then we have Vishwodara. Vishwodara essentially is stomach. When your stomach is hungry, empty, it growls. Okay, this nerve says, hey, your stomach is now getting filled with the digestive juices, throw food in it, right? It controls the Jataragni, the fire in the belly. That is what is controlled by Vishwodara. Then we have the power of speech. See, some people, when they talk, it's so hopeful, it's so powerful, it's so positive. Saraswati sitting on the Saraswati is a nerve that connects to the tongue, and that continues to give us the power of speech. When I do the notes, I will do a representation of mapping on how these 14 lokas and the 14 nadis are connected. And the most important thing, the 14 slokas of Soundarya Lahari that we discussed in the previous classes when we discussed the whole 100 Soundarya Lahari slokas are connected to this. And I will give in the description the mapping of each of the slokas. So those of you who chant Soundarya Lahari can go back and chant those as well. Even if you don't know anything, just continue to chant Sarva Samkshobhini, Sarva Vidravini, Sarva Akarshini, Sarva Ahladini, Sarva Sammohini, Sarva Stambhini, Sarva Jrumbhini, Sarva Vashankari, Sarva Ranjani, Sarva Unmadini, Sarva Arthasadhike, Sarva Sampatti, Sarva Mantramayi, Sarva Vashankari. It's like a capsule of B complex. You don't know what is there in the B complex, right? If you open, there are multiple granules inside. Either you can eat all of them or the whole capsule is encapsulated. You just take, you get the same result. In fact, when you take the whole capsule and swallow it, it's easy. You don't find the bitter taste as well. When you actually chant all these, sometimes there's a good chance that you might get overwhelmed and confused. But the beauty in understanding all these things is everything, unity in diversity. No matter how many things are connected, all the 5 fingers are connected to one wrist, becoming one fist. Exactly, no matter which track we go, we have to understand what the root is, which is our mother. Okay, just like multiple kids, twins born from the same mother might appear different, speak different, have different behavior, but their root genes pool goes back to the same. So all of us, all the roots, all the connectivity goes back to the same root. That is a brief attempt at this class. Hopefully it made sense. Now we'll offer the Mangala Shasana and conclude today's class. Mangalam Guru Sree Chandramaulishvarage Shakti Ganapati Sharadambige Shankaracharyanige Kala Bhairavage Kali Durgige Veeradhira Sura Hanuma Maruti Charanage Mangalam Guru Sree Sarvam Shri Umameshwar Parabrahmarpanastu. That we will stop the class and we'll